about So let me tell you about spring and summer. Okay, like early, especially like early spring. Okay, has anyone gone strawberry picking around this time? Can you share that in the chat, or just unmute yourself and tell us so if you've gone strawberry picking? Anyone? All right, so my family started to go for, like, strawberry picking here in especially around this time. It's already open. Okay, there's a lot of, if you look on Google, and you can find a farm that may be as close as an hour away from Toronto, and you can, like, go for a day, make it a day trip with your family, and harvest those strawberries. This is harvest from last year, and maybe we've gone to, I don't know, 4 strawberry picking seasons. And these are very luscious strawberries, and they are, no, we can't eat them all. So we planned on, eating some, and also putting them for making jams. And I still have a jam that I made from last year. I believe this, yeah, this is a strawberry jam that I made from last year. I was able to make like enough that we were able to consume it over the course of the whole year, because we alternated with some of the blueberries that I canned, and also, some other jams that may be like gifted to me. So this is a strawberry jam, so it lasts more than a year, as you can see, and they were still good. When we were cleaning the farm freezer, surprisingly, our farmer Connor was putting aside all those raspberries that were harvested from our raspberry patch. Okay, because he was trying to put them all together so he can make a batch, and make a batch of raspberry jam. We discovered 2 Ziplocs. Okay, so those are frozen raspberries that, I didn't want them to go to waste because they were trying to defrost the freezer. So I turned them into a raspberry jam, and they are quite delicious. I made 3 different versions of the raspberry jam. It was a lot of work. I slept late that night, but I'm gifted with, like, nature's gift that I can like use, and I'm gonna keep a couple of this for my family, and then the rest I will be sharing it with the staff at the farm. And also, we always have some events going on, and it's a good way to gift it to some of our speakers and our people who contribute to the work that we do. So that is the raspberry. And today, okay, we are making hot pepper jelly. And from a previous workshop, we made this hot pepper jelly. And if you can see it, I put like a ribbon on it, because I just want to show you that you can gift this jams and jellies for holidays, or even birthdays, or any season that you would want to be giving some gifts to your friends and family. So our houses are full of so many stuff, but what a good way to give as a gift are food like this. And they have good shelf life, and they are enjoyed, and you can always recycle back the mason jars, and once it's empty. So if you are ready, let's get started with today's session. So I'll be making hot pepper jelly and mixed berry jam. I know in my email I mentioned blueberry jam, but you know what? It's the season to be merry with berries because they are starting to come out, especially the strawberries, and our raspberries are also starting to come out of the farm. So let's make a mixed berry. Sometimes they call it also bumbleberry. So I'm gonna pause. Is there any question at this point before we start with our session for today? Nothing? Okay. So people have different, like, ways, the cultures, different cultures like preserve, more than others. In the Philippines, we didn't do a lot of preserve goods, because, like, there's not a lot of like berries unless you live somewhere in in the mountainous areas where they grow blueberries. But my mom, during when the tomatoes are so abundant, she would create like different ways to preserve it. Like she canned some, and then she also made them into jams. Okay. So to tell you the truth, like she wanted to save all those tomatoes. Okay. And I picked that up from her, saving like, food so that they don't go to waste. So she learned how to, can those tomatoes, and I learned how to do it as well. And we use it for, as jam, like your regular jam. So you can be creative with jams. Okay, you can explore this world of jam. It's not just limited to like fruits, but you can, look into other ways to preserve whatever you have in your garden, or whatever seasonal foods you can see in the grocery store or farmers market. Okay, particularly today we'll be making jellies and jams, and we'll tell you some, some tips and tricks on how to make a jam that would be, that will have a good consistency. So first, let's start with the hot pepper jelly. Okay. I need to send the recipes from last week or 2 weeks ago. So I will bundle up all the recipes in one email together with this session today, so that you don't miss out on any of these ingredients. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so hot pepper jelly. So what do we have? Let me just switch my camera. Okay, so for hot pepper jelly, okay, I'm actually using a sweet pepper. Okay, so I have here 1.5 cups of red bell pepper, 1 1/4 cup of orange pepper, and then 1 cup of yellow pepper. You can actually use a green pepper as well here, but I wasn't able to get a green pepper, so I just use whatever extra bell pepper that I have. Okay, to make it a little bit hot and to get that contrast of like hot and sweet, we are putting in jalapeno pepper. Now, if you don't have jalapeno pepper, you can also use Scotch bonnet pepper. Okay, some people, they freeze their hot peppers as the season goes. So if you have a frozen jalapeno or Scotch bonnet pepper in your freezer, you can use this for this recipe. Okay, alongside these ingredients, we're also using what do you call that, 1 cup of vinegar. Now this is this is quite a lot. Okay, this is 5 cups of sugar. Now I know it's a lot, and I would encourage you to, if you are diabetic or you're not into like this much sugar, I would encourage you to look into other recipes that would use less sugar. Okay, but for this particular one, it's calling for this amount of sugar. Now we need our jelly to set. Okay, so we need this particular powder. It's called pectin. Okay, and if you can see, so it says here original pectin, and you can buy it, okay, under Bernardin brand, and there's also another brand where it's being sold. Okay, so the pectin, the role of a pectin is actually a sugar acid. Okay, it binds with the sugar. It binds with the sugar. Okay, when we put them in high heat, and then they gel together. Okay, it's a gelling agent basically. Okay, this is the preserving agent, but this is the gelling agent, so that when you are scooping out your jam or jelly, okay, it's not runny. Okay, and it has that like jelly consistency. Okay, there is another pectin. It's called no sugar added pectin. Okay, for those who are, okay, whenever you use the original, it goes hand in hand with sugar that's in the recipe. Okay, but let's say, okay, I don't actually, I'm conscious about the sugar. Okay, and I don't want sugar in my jelly or jam, but I still want the taste of sugar in my jam. So there's is no sugar pectin recipe. What they did is they put dextrose. They already put like a sugar there, so you can taste the sweetness in this kind of pectin. So you don't have to add like sugar in this one. No, now you need to look for a recipe that calls for this particular no sugar needed pectin. Okay, For today's purpose, we are using this regular one, and I already measured out 1.75 ounces of this pectin powder. Now, so what is pectin? What is this made of, basically? Okay, so this is made from fruits and vegetables. You can find pectin, they're naturally occurring actually in fruits and vegetables skin and also seeds. All right, and there are fruits that are high in pectin. A lot of them would be like citrus fruits, tart apples like Granny Smith, the green ones, lemons, limes, and plums. So they're very high in pectin. So when you're working with this type of fruits, you don't necessarily need to add pectin in them. Okay, but what are some other food that have low pectin? That would be strawberries, peaches, pears, blueberries. However, it depends, some of them would have also have like natural pectin in them. And if you forget to buy pectin, don't worry. The way to get that that gelling consistency is to just boil down your jam as well, and that could equally work. In the past, our grandparents, they didn't have the luxury of this pectin, right? They didn't have access to any of this. But how did they make jam? They've been making jams for generations and generations, and the way to do it is to just like boil it away, or simmer it away rather, and to get to that consistency. So you can still do it without the pectin. Okay, but for the purpose of today, I'll show you the hot pepper jelly that uses pectin and the jam that doesn't use any pectin. Okay, so let's get started. I have here non-reactive pot. Oops, let me switch my camera. Okay, I have here a non-reactive pot. Okay, and into this, putting all these peppers. All the peppers, sweet pepper, these are all measured out already. Make sure that when you cut your peppers, they are finely chopped and consistently the same size, so that they cook at the same time. Okay. And my jalapeno. So if you're always wondering, hey, you have so much jalapenos in, that you planted in your garden, these are some of the things that you can do. Oh, look at that color. Okay, so I have here in my pot, put it at high heat. Okay, so I'm just gonna try to mix this. So this is very easy to make. And to this, I'm going to put the vinegar. Okay. And the pectin powder. Okay. Just gonna stir it up. So I'm going to bring this to a rolling boil. Oh wow, the apple cider vinegar is strong, but it has a nice smell. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna bring that to a rolling boil. Let's just wait for it. Okay, so while we are waiting, are there any questions so far? Anybody in the group who makes jams or has done any like jam? Please share it to the group. Or what are you planning to make this, this summer? You can start making like memories with your kids, with your family, by maybe visiting a strawberry farm this year, and make some jams. and involve your kids in making the jams so that they understand, how to preserve certain fruits. Okay. Once you got the strawberries, the blueberries will follow, and then raspberries and all the other berries. So I hope you get the chance to, harvest some berries or go to your local market to get hold of this seasonal produce. Okay, so it is starting to boil. Okay, I can feel already like that. I can feel the, what do you call that? The pectin. It's already like jelly. Okay, I think that I'm at the maximum. Okay, so now I'm going to take this off the heat, okay, momentarily, to put the sugar. So what I'm trying to do with this, why am I putting it in a high heat, is that I'm trying to activate the pectin. Okay, the pectin will be activated in this high heat so that, like, it's ready to gel with the sugar. Okay, so give me a sec. I'm gonna turn that off. Now I am going to add the sugar. It's quite a lot of sugar. Okay, so what's the difference between like jelly and then jams? Okay. Generally, jellies, when you buy in the store, okay, you can observe that they are like clear for a lot of like jellies that you find in the store, because jellies are mostly like fruit juice extract. Okay. And jams are mashed fruit, and that's what we're going to do in our second like recipe. Okay. So now that we have we will put this back in the heat and we'll bring it to another boil. Okay. Okay, we'll bring this to another boil and stir it so that everything comes together. Okay, so while we are waiting for this to boil, I'm going to take my I'm going to bring my, what do you call that, mason jars. I'm using 250 ml mason jars today, and I already like sterilized them for at least 10 minutes. Okay, so this is like our third workshop, so you know already how we sterilize our jars. Okay. And I would need 6 jars for this recipe. So these are my jars. I need 2 more. All right. So that's it. So my hot pepper jelly has come to a second boil. And this is ready. Okay, so now time to put them in this sanitized, already called sterilized jars. So let me just get my stuff ready for that. I have my rings in here. And then I have these flat lids in here. Okay. So wasn't that quick? Are there any questions at this point? Okay, I need my funnel. Just give me a sec. I have to find my funnel. Okay, so this is my funnel. Now they're ready to go into the jars. Okay, so the trick with this is try to like scoop a ladle or two like in each of these jars. Okay, so that all the peppers are equally distributed and you don't end up with just a clear mason jar in the end. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. Okay, one scoop for that, and then move your just go and shift it. If you have like a jelly recipe, you can share it with us as well if you have like tested that over the years, or any recipes that was handed over, handed down by your grandparents or your mom. So yeah. Okay, so I have to leave like an inch of headspace so that there's space for the air to escape out. So for this, approximately, you can fill up 6 of these 250 ml mason jars. I see a little bit of like clumped pectin in here, so I'm not gonna scoop that into my jar. I'm just going to avoid it. Okay. And the last one. I have one of the staff test this recipe, and he quite liked it. So what can you do with this hot pepper jelly? So you can use it as, you know, when you're serving some appetizers with crackers. It goes very well with goat cheese and crackers. And also you can always use them like the way you use with your, what do you call that, for your pancakes. Okay, so now I'm going to Here is my, I warmed this up already. So you, just as you remember, we need to like warm up this flat lid because it has that rubber seal around, and that needs to expand so that it hugs. Okay, before I put that, actually, I need to like wipe the rim so that I get a proper seal. All right. So when I was doing this for the first time, I had to like keep reviewing, you know, the recipes and the instructions, but now it started to come to me like naturally. And I was able to catch myself today. It's like, oh, I haven't done that wiping of the rim. So that's what I'm doing right now. Okay. So as you get to do more and more canning, it will come to you like, you know, naturally. So let me just put everything like so. All right. So you can do a combination. So if you are growing a lot of peppers this summer, you can do different combinations of the peppers that you have. You know, shepherd peppers, they are like bell peppers, but they are just like, you know, long type of peppers, and they normally would come like in a red form. So you can use that, and maybe you can put some more of the hot pepper, depending on how much you can tolerate the heat. And yeah, you can play around with the type of pepper. Oops, wow, I think it was starting to seal that one. Okay, so a little bit hot. I need a second towel to handle this. All right, so again, it's finger tight. That means like you're not using any other tools to tighten the jam, or rather the jelly. Okay, and if you look at it, see how it is. It looks so pretty and festive, right? Isn't that like great for, you know, giving away as a gift? Or when you're entertaining this summer, you can put it in your glaze for your barbecue. You can put that, you can like incorporate this as well. Okay, so that is ready to go in our canning pot. Right. So just for me to show you that there's another way to sterilize your jar. Okay. If you were able to, if you were one of those people who borrowed one of our equipment, this particular pot, it has a special feature actually. So you can see in the, you know, this has been tested to be able to like use steam to sterilize the jars and also to seal the jars. Okay, so normally what would happen when you are sterilizing the jars in this pot is that you want the water to be like totally covering, oops, it's hot, totally covering all the jars, right? Okay, and similarly, when you are, you know, heat processing the jars, it has to be, the water has to be 1 to 2 inches covering the jars. Okay, but with steam, when you are using steam, you just need if I can show you. Okay, I'm running out of a little bit of water, but I would put like 2 to 3 inches, as long as it's just beneath this rack. Okay, so that is the steam that I use. This particular pot, they've made a lot of research and use this. I'm not quite exactly sure if we can do the same thing with the other jars. Maybe in theory we can, because it's the same steam anyway. However, this really locks in the steam in this particular pot, and then it brings the temperature consistently up to a certain point where, you know, when you get to the green, it shows you that, hey, it has to stay in the green, and that's when you start counting. So play around. If you were able to, like, you know, borrow one of these pots, you should be able to like use the steam feature so that you sterilize your jars for 10 minutes. And then after doing that, okay, You will also, let me just grab my what do you call this? Let me just grab the rest of this. Before I put them for heat processing. All right. Okay. So let me take out the rest of my sterilized jars. Two. Four. So then, okay, I will add a little bit of more water in here because it's there you go. Okay, a little bit more water. Okay, I think that's it. Okay. I'll let this to boil. I might as well. So I'm putting in my hot pepper jelly in here and heat process them for at least 10 minutes. Okay. So for this size of jar, you need to process this for 10 to 15 minutes. Okay. All right. Okay, let me just pause for a sec and welcome any questions or clarifications at this point. While I set up for the next workshop, the recipe that we're making. Yeah. Okay. Is there any question? Clear? Okay, so we'll proceed with our next recipe and we'll be making mixed berry jam. Okay, so what are the berries that we are making today? Okay, so the recipe for this one is calling for blueberries, raspberries. I put in, blackberries. These are the raspberries. When you come and visit the farm, you can take a taste of our raspberries that we grow at the farm. And mind you, they taste so delicious. And if you have kids, let them like pick and sample some of our raspberries that we grow. We also have a raspberry that is color white and they are so soft and sweet. I love them actually. Well, I love the reds too, but when I discovered about the white, it's like I started to look for the whites more than the, the red ones. They're not exactly white, but I think they're called like golden, because they're a little bit like, creamy looking when they're ready. So please come to the farm and sample the raspberries that we grow in there. Okay. These are blueberries. Okay, so we also have some blueberry patch, but I have to like know where we relocated our blueberries. Blueberries are not the easiest to grow because they particularly need a particular type of soil, like more alkaline soil. So you need to kind of like amend the soil, right? But once you get them going, you can get like produce. Okay, and berries, we know that they're full of nutrition, okay, antioxidant and all those anti-cancer and all this, beneficial benefits that you get from them. Okay, and lastly, okay, we also need strawberries for this particular one. Okay, so the question is, can I just make a jam out of like just, any of them? Of course, if you have so much of strawberries and you just want strawberries, yeah, go ahead and do that. And the same with like just make blueberries or blackberries or raspberries. But sometimes it's fun to mix up all of them. And I actually haven't like done like a mix of berries in a jam. So that's what we're going to do today. And for this particular recipe, we need 1 kilo of combination of all the different berries. So this is exactly a kilo of the recipe that I'm making. So you need like this size. What is this size? 1.137 liters. Okay, so this is the size that I'm using. And then for the blueberry, this pint size. What is this? 1 US dry pint. Okay, 551 ml. Okay, so it's like more than half a liter. And then this is 170 grams of raspberry. Okay, and the same size for the blackberry. All right, so if you have more of something else, just try to like, give and take until you're able to form like a kilo of all these different berries. So in the interest of time, I went ahead and started the jam. Okay, so this is my jam. I warmed it, but I think it got a little bit more warm than I wanted it. Okay, so I started this jam in the bigger pot actually, because when you get it boiling, it would splatter about. Okay, I just transferred it here because it's in the late stage. It's almost like ready to go. It's not, gonna splatter anymore. So how do you know when this jam is set? Okay, as I mentioned in the jelly recipe, we use the pectin. Okay, but for this recipe, we are not using pectin, but we're just using the naturally occurring pectin in the berries, because berries have pectin in them. Okay, in the recipe, it was calling for like 20 to 30 minutes. Okay, however, it was also explaining that it depends on how much water is present in the berries. Okay. It depends on how much water is present in the berries. So you might need to like add 5 minutes more, or another 5 minutes, or as long as you have it in in a simmer, not a rolling boil, so that you slowly boil it down and have it to the consistency that you want. Okay, so what happened with this, let me just go back to what I made with this. So I put all the berries in a pot like this. Okay, and I added, just give me a sec, I'm just going to show you. And to that, okay, I added 4 tablespoons of this what's that, lime. Okay, bottled lime. Okay, ideally use the lemon that was being called for in the recipe, but I ran out of that bottled lemon, so I use bottled lime. And when I use this for my raspberry jam, I actually like the taste. It has a different, like, you know, taste compared to the normal lemon. Now, okay, can you use fresh lemon, fresh lime instead of the bottled? I would suggest that you use a bottled lime or bottled lemon, because they have the standard acidity compared to the fresh lemons. Lemons don't normally, you know, one is sweeter, one is less acidic than the other. So please use a bottled lemon, especially when you're doing a canning like this, so that you have a consistent acidic environment in the jar. And that's what we need to preserve our jams. Okay, so another role of this acidic, that the lemon juice or lime juice is actually, it binds with the sugar so that your jam doesn't crystallize. Okay, have you noticed any of your jams, maybe homemade jams, now you know they crystallize? So then that's why they put lemon in it, so that it prevents the crystallization of those molecules in your jam. Okay, so I mix the jam, I mix the berries. I mix the berries in a pot with 4 tablespoons of this, and then I added the sugar. I think I put so the ratio for jam, okay, for jam is when you have for a batch that you're making, you can put 30% to 50% of sugar into the batch, any batch that you are making. So that means for this batch that I made, it's 1 kilo or 1,000 grams. So I put 300 grams of sugar. So that's 30% of sugar. Or if you want it sweeter, then you can go for 500 grams. I normally don't go for the 50. I would go for the lower end of that ratio. Okay, so 30 to 50% of sugar to the amount of fruit that you have. Okay, and it's very good if you have if you can invest in like a weighing scale like this in your kitchen, then that is the best way to measure out the proportions. Okay, otherwise you might have to like do it by cups, but that may not be the most accurate. Okay, so 30 to 50% sugar to the amount of fruit that you are making. Okay, so you're gonna have to bring that to a boil. Okay, and then keep that to a hot medium, start with medium and then medium high heat for like 2 minutes, because you want to release the pectin. You are activating the pectin whenever the recipe is calling for like, hey, bring it to a rolling boil. Okay, but it doesn't stay there too long. You bring it back to a simmer. Okay, not bubbling, not overflowing, but like a simmer, so that you just letting the water evaporate up to a certain consistency that you want it. Now, what's the consistency of the that we are looking for? Okay, so we want it to be like a little jelly, right? We don't want it to be runny. So how do we test if the jam is ready? So in the earlier part of my workshop, I stashed away two small plates. You can use a saucer, ceramic one, by the way. It's in the freezer. You need to put there at least 15 minutes so that you have that contrast of cold. And in here, I'm going to put jam. Okay. And what I'm going to, I'm trying to test here the gel. This is called the gel test. Okay. So with the warm jam, I put it in the cold plate, frozen plate, basically. Okay. You will observe that the jam would, if it shows like a crinkly look to it, then it is ready. Okay, so let me just show you that. Okay, so actually if I even do this with the jam, can you see that it's wrinkling on its own, basically? So this is ready. Okay, so let me just put it in this. Okay. Ooh. Okay, so if it's starting to like wrinkle, okay, I don't know if you can like see it, okay, it is ready, okay. Can you guys see it? So if you push onto it, okay, it has that wrinkly texture. Great tip about the lime or lemon juice. I've had crystallized jam. Okay, good. All right, so it is crinkly. It is like wrinkly. One last item to do with this is to put in like, oh, I have to mention, by the way, that the strawberries, when I added in them to the pot, I had to cut them so that they are all in with this and in the same size as the other fruits, okay. And I also, when they were like boiling away for 20 to 30 minutes, okay, I mashed them with the masher so that I get you know, the fruits are not so bulky, okay. So you can see them like they're mashed up. I don't like them to be too much like, you know, pureed, because I like that chunkiness in my jam. Okay, so mash them up. That would be a you know, an activity for your kids. Okay, and then what else did I do? Okay, okay, one last touch up. When you bring it out of the heat, okay, you can add a teaspoon, not more than that, of butter, unsalted butter, to the jam. Okay, so what that will do is it will, you know, lessen the foaming in the jam, and also it will make a glistening look. It will give a glistening look to your jam. Okay, so it's like shiny. Okay, so two things: it lessens the foam, it calms down your jam basically, so the foam is lessened. Okay, I think that's why in some cultures, my husband puts oil whenever he boils some dal. Is that what you do too, Miss Carol? So that, you know, the foam, it will lessen the foaming of the dal. The dal is like a pulse, lentils. Okay, so I'm putting butter here. I guess it has that similar effect. It lessens the foaming action, and then it gives that, you know, glistening effect. All right. I honestly, this took more than like 30 minutes. Okay, that was the recipe, what the recipe was calling for. Okay, so that might happen to your jam as well, and this is very normal. Okay, because it depends on the amount of water that is present in the fruit, depending on the, they said, even the humidity in your house, depending on you know, the, even the pot that you use, if it's like shallow, or, you know, wide, or what's that, deep. Okay, so it depends. So now, if you haven't achieved that consistency that you're looking for, just add 5 more minutes. Okay, this actually was 45 minutes or more. Okay, I just boiled it down to like low low simmer. Okay, not even like boiling so much, to just have that water evaporate, so that I get to this consistency. So you can do the same thing. Okay, so now it's ready to go in the jars. Okay, all right, so let us do that. Oh, I don't know if you can see it. Oh, sorry, let me show you the wrinkly. Okay, I can see it from my end, but I don't know if you can see it, but it's like, it has that consistency as well. And when you scoop it up, you can also feel with the ladle. Okay, let me get my ladle. Okay, and then again, my flat lids over here. Let's see how many bottles we can make out of this batch. Okay, let me just grab my okay, here we go. This smells so good. Now, does it matter what kind of sugar should you use for your jam? You can use white or brown. I like using brown on my jam because I like the taste of the brown sugar. It has more full flavor. In the jelly, if you want to achieve more like, the color so that it doesn't get overpowered by the color of the brown sugar, I would suggest to use white sugar. Okay, if you want to retain that clear look for your jelly. I think I can just make 3. Nothing goes to waste. And when my son comes, he'll even like dip his bread in here. So he loves doing that. Okay, so I was only able to make 3, and that is fine. That is totally fine. My other option would have been, if you wanted to like have more, if you didn't want to boil it down too much, then you could use the pectin. Okay, but today I just want to show you, like, you don't need to use pectin. Okay, where is my I need to wipe it down. So what are the other alternatives to pectin if you don't have access to pectin? What do you think you can use? There are alternatives to pectin. Okay, and I'll share that to you in a sec. Okay, let me just share that, and I need the rings. Oops. Exciting. Okay, so this is ready to go into the canner as well. And I'll put this, the recipe said 15 minutes. Okay, so for this size, like as I said, it normally would call for at least 10 minutes. So specifically the recipe said 15 minutes. So I'll put this for 15 minutes, but my pepper jelly, I think it's been here for 10 minutes. Okay, so I'm gonna take out my pepper jelly and put this in. Okay, so let me do that now. Oh, so just a tip, by the way. So this has been there for 10 minutes. Turn off the stove after 10 minutes or 15 minutes of heat processing, and don't open it right away. These pots are very hot. Let it like cool down for like 5 minutes before you even, open it. And when you open it, like you open it with the steam like facing away from you and not towards you, because I have kind of like mildly burned myself, by just opening, because it is way too hot, the inside. Okay, so let it like go down for like 5 minutes before you open it. Okay, so that you don't burn yourself. Okay. So let me see. Okay. Carefully. There you go. So again, whenever you're using this grabber, make sure that this part that is curved is hugging the neck of your mason jar. Okay, so this is the way you use it. Oops, one already sealed. Okay, don't use this straight part. This is the one for your hands. Okay, so you can see I save a lot of water and energy and time today because I didn't have to boil water that is up to this depth or to this height rather. Okay, so you can see jelly is in here. Okay, good. Oops. Yeah, I can hear them popping. All right, and here I will put back the, I can actually hold them. So I will do that. I'll put this mixed berry jam. And I put it back in the stove and it will boil away for 15 minutes. Okay, so what I was asking earlier, oh, look at this. Okay, so I'm just gonna pause for question, and then I actually had a question that I asked you guys earlier. What are the other alternatives to pectin? If I can find my chia seeds. I can't find my chia seeds right now. So are you familiar with chia seeds? Okay. So some people like they put it in their drink, you know, as a cleansing, just plain water. Some people put it with milk and make like a pudding and all of that. So whenever you dissolve it, it absorbs a lot of water because these seeds have mucilaginous coating in them. It just means like, you know, just like okra and some slimy foods, they have that around their seeds. And when they're exposed to water, they you know, they bloat up and then they become like jelly. So chia seeds can be used as an alternative to pectin. Okay. However, it may not last as long as a pectin preserve. Okay. So, but you can use it, and I've used it in one of the, because I wanted to experiment. I use it in one of the versions of raspberry jam that I made, and it was pretty good. You know, it did the job of gelling the jam, and yeah, that was a fun thing for me to discover that we can use chia seeds. Okay, so chia seeds, pectin, or just boil it down until you get to that consistency. So those are like the tips in making, you know, a jam like that. Okay, is there any question? Okay, so I have had crystallization on my jam. Cool. Okay, so good stuff. Okay, so just put like lime or lemon in it, and you're good to go. So Mildred, can I just use lime or lemon if I don't have this? Okay, there's no stopping. If that is what you have, you can use that. But I would suggest that if you're using fresh, don't expect it to have like long shelf life. I would suggest like make a batch and then put it in the fridge, and maybe that will last for like, oh no, a few weeks, 4 to 6 weeks, and consume it you know, fast. Nah, it won't be like the same as the other ones. Okay. And yeah, so that wraps up our jams and jellies session for today. Are there other questions that you may have. Okay, so just, oh, thanks, Antonella. Yeah, so just to give you, for those who are planning to, like, you know, um, borrow some of the equipment, we still have some equipment that is available for you to borrow. So please send me an email, and we'll make an arrangement. I think Carla is here. I'm so sorry. I apologize, Carla, if we missed you when you came to pick up. I sent you an email, and please call me to make another arrangement. For sessions in the summer, I think I will have a little break next week, but the week after in July, I'm hoping to do a session in garlic scapes and all the other, you know, pesto that we can make out of like the greens that are growing in the farm or in your garden. Okay, so garlic scapes, my garlics in the backyard, garlic scapes are ready. So I'm gonna make and work with the garlic scapes. I'm probably going to make pesto and make some pickles and discover other ways to make, like, you know, to preserve garlic scapes. And also we have like a drop in like 2 days in July and 2 days in the summer where we can gather the families together. So watch out for that. The flyer is not ready. I'm working with our farm school to get that going. And other than that, we have our farm festival that's coming up July 23rd. It's on a Saturday, so please, please, please bring all your kids. It's free event, and we would have like different activities, lots of activities installed for all the families. Okay, we had, by the way, a successful fundraising pizza event last Saturday. And a lot of new people like came to, you know, enjoy the event. So yeah, a lot of people like enjoyed coming to the farm and all. If you haven't been to the farm, this is, you know, we are open to welcoming all of you, particularly on Farm Festival Day, where we have, you know, the staff where they can answer your questions and show you around. Please come to that event. Okay.